The environment is actually not that bad. We see growth in two dimensions, two engines. One, we still see a movement on digital and the transformation there, a lot of cloud. But the second, which is picking up nicely, is the cost efficiency. And there we see a huge amount of impact. We had last quarter growth in both digital and cloud, and we were fortunate enough to increase our guidance then.
So let me talk to you about digital and cloud, because that's the second time I've heard it from a very big CEO with a technology focus on this set. And that is actually the wheels in motion for digitization, for companies using the efficiencies they can get from this new technology. It's not diminished. And I think that's fascinating because the cost of capital has gone through the roof for a lot of companies as well. Suddenly we have real interest rates around the world that we haven't seen in a generation. But actually the appetite to still spend on digitization, you're still seeing it.
So we're seeing it. It's different by different industries. We see, for example, in financial services, in mortgages, investment banking, things are slowing. A little bit of slowing on the tech space or the telco space. But if you look at energy utilities, very strong growth. Manufacturing, very strong growth. So it's not an even picture across all industries. It's somewhat different, but there is still an appetite to make those changes.
Well, why do you think the financial sector is slowing down?
Well, there we've seen a lot of concerns that many of the banks have shared, cutbacks in jobs and so on. Of course, the interest rate changes there impact them more directly. If you look at energy, for example, there's just an explosion of what they're doing with the changes, the transition to green, but also the change to digital and cloud for their work itself.
Yeah. What about geographically? Because obviously there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope that actually China's worst is behind it, the lowest growth rates since the Cultural Revolution. That is in the rearview mirror as well. Do you share that view?
So there, we don't have a big business in China. Most of our work...
There's a ripple effect for the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there, what we understand is the second half of this calendar year, at least from the conversations I've had yesterday, seems to be where China's growth's coming back. And that would, of course, impact all of the manufacturers, all of the people who create things which are being used. So we anticipate that coming back, maybe in consumer products, maybe in other sectors as well. But for today, we see good growth in Europe. We had last quarter one of our strongest growths in Europe. Very strong growth.
Good growth in Europe.
Last quarter was incredible for us in Europe. So we had a strong business there, but it's been built up over the last 18 months or so. Of course, the economic news, we do see some concerns in a couple of the countries, but it's not shown up in our results as yet, and the outlook still looks pretty strong.